Hi guys and girls, welcome back to Watch the Time. Thanks for tuning back in. Thanks for coming back to see me. I'm really pleased you've done so, and I'm exceptionally pleased about to bring you first ever Welly Merck. I know it's a funny old name. It sounds like a cross between a car and a footballer or something. I don't know, but from what I understand or what I've seen online and stuff, it seems like they're connected to Pagani design in some way. But hopefully, it's Pagani done well. Do you understand? I mean, this one looks pretty cool. It's the 142M. Also, I'm going to call it the Two Moons. You'll see why. Um, it looks so well executed. It's definitely taken inspiration from other watches, maybe another watch in particular. But this one looked really cool. They contacted me through my official email. There's a couple other watches they have, but this one looked the most interesting. Something a little bit different. The calendar on it, in terms of the rotation of the moon, I think it's supposed to do a full rotation in sort of 28 days or something. I'm not sure if that's correct, but that's what they're saying. It's a Hangzhou adapted movement for this. But looks cool. It looks cool. Like I said, the finishing looks quite nice. You'd have seen it in the watchable video. But now I'm here to bring you the full review and cover everything to see if it's something that sort of tickles your fancy. And if it does, please use the link in the description. But get yourself a nice brew, relax, take it easy. We'll get there together because it's about that time to get the camera turned around and get on with it. Hi guys, so this is the watch. You'll see it's the Welly Merck. The name is not great, is it? I will mention it again later, but they have since changed the brand name to WM Watches. So hopefully that's something. Quite a substantial box that it comes in. What I did like about, you'd have seen in the watchable video that I did. Oh, knocking my camera over. I did like the fact it came with a travel case. It's kind of what I do like to see, just because it allows you to keep using it. Do you know what I mean? Inside, you'll see it did have a tool to help size the bracelet, which I did use. I've got 4 links out for it to fit my wrist, hang tag, instruction manual and stuff in there. So should make it nice and easy. Like I said, I had no problems. The bracelet was nice and easy to size. But let me just put this stuff to the side, and then we can concentrate on the watch itself. Like I say, nice travel case it came in. I've had quite a bit of time with this watch now, so I feel like I'm well placed to really give you a good lowdown on the watch. It was one I was quite excited to see, to be honest. Has it lived up to that sort of expectation and billing? Let's find out. So like I said, this is the Welly Merck, put the crown in. This is the Welly Merck 142M. It's called the Two Moons because you can see it's got 2 moons on it. Why we need 2 moons, I'm not sure. I can see that they've definitely taken inspiration from a brand that I really do like over in the UK. But what's it been executed like? Like I said, the 142M. Inside this watch, it's running a Hangzhou. I'll bring it up now so you can have a good look at it. Yeah, the Hangzhou 7200A. I'll bring some information up next to me about this movement. This is supposedly got a really good power reserve. You'll see 72 hours written on the rotor. There's obviously been modified because obviously you've got the 2 moons on there. High beat movement. This has been running bang on, to be honest, in terms of timing. So this has been gained in about 1 second a day, which, to be honest, you would take all day long in any watch you've got. So I mean, that's to be applauded. Like nice bit of perlage on there on the movement. They've obviously put their own rotor on there as well. Yeah, looks pretty cool. Got the flywheel up at the 12, up at the top there, which is a little bit unusual. Normally off to the side, but yeah, not a bad movement. I don't mind Hangzhou. They make some good stuff in terms of their movements. The construction of the watch, aside from the crystal on the front and back, is all 316L stainless steel. So you've got a high polished thin bezel. You've got brushing on the case with polished beveled edge. The bracelet itself is a mixture of brushing and polishing. You've got polish on the flanks, brushed, and you've got polished center links. You've got butterfly clasp. Doesn't feel the best, I'll be honest. It feels quite cheap, the clasp. You've got solid end links. Yeah, then you've got outer part of the exhibition case back, which is all 316L stainless steel. So, like I said, apart from the crystal on the back and front, all 316L stainless steel and a real mixture of brushing and polishing throughout the watch. The case thickness of this watch is 12.8 millimeters. The case diameter, I measure from the 8 to the 2, it was coming at 41.5 millimeters. When you go from the 9 to the 3, including the crown, it was coming at 44.5 millimeters. The lug width on this is 20. That does taper down to 18 mil at that butterfly clasp, and the lug to lug, tip to tip of the watch. So if originally it comes in at 48.6 millimeters, which seems okay, doesn't it? But then when you consider it's got male end links to the center link, it was coming at 53.7 millimeters. So that is some length, isn't it? It makes the watch feel quite big, to be honest. It does feel that way when you wear it on wrist. In reality, to be honest, so that's the way it is. Like I said, fixed polished bezel. You got push pull crown signed on there. Exhibition case back, which is mineral, which has been screwed down. I was going to take the back off and do a movement shot, which is what I do, but I don't see that I'm going to get this movement very much, so I didn't see any point in doing that. So there we are. The bracelet tapers from 20 to 18, so not an awful lot of taper on it. You'll see it does taper down a little bit. Butterfly clasp, all sterile, and like I said, the clasp does feel a bit gnarly, to be honest, in terms of it just feels a bit cheap. You've got double pushers. So there we are. The crystal covering the dial is a sapphire crystal, so you don't quite get a sapphire sandwich. Sapphire on the front, mineral on the bottom. So there we are. The water resistance is started as being 50 meters, so that'd give you 5 atmospheres of water resistance, and the weight will appear in the top right. So with 4 links removed, it was coming in at 135 grams or 135.3 grams. I was surprised, to be honest, given the size of the watch. I was expecting it to weigh a bit more, but it doesn't feel massively premium, to be honest. So it doesn't feel massively weighty. You could do a bit more heft to make it feel a bit better, but that's the weight. But let's have a look at the dial in a bit more detail, because this was really what I was excited to see. So you'll see it's got a couple of layers on this dial. So the outer part is a minute track. You've got applied battens at every hour, nicely faceted, to be honest. I like the way it plays with the light and stuff. Looks nice. Inside that is where you got the main sub dial, which is what has the moons on it. You've got the stars. I don't know what they've done. They've got a cutout that sort of makes it a bit darker, just for effect, obviously for night and day probably. But I don't like the way it looks all the time, to be honest. It doesn't look amazing. You've got the hands. The proportions in the hands are good. They reach out to the minute track on the outer sub dial, which is nice. You've got the red accent on the end of the second hand, which is nice for a bit of something different, to be honest, because otherwise it is just very black and white. So I mean, having that red for a bit of contrast is nice. Good proportion on the hands, high polished, which is cool. Like I said, the way it's set up at the moment, like I said, you've got 2 moons that you can see. You've got Welly Merck. They're sort of quite center, a little bit just below the hands in the middle, at the bottom, just above the 6, you would say. You've got WM for Welly Merck. The name I don't like. I don't know what it means at all. You've got automatic just below that. Like I said, you've got the stars and the moon and stuff. You're also going to be thinking to yourself, what's the lume like? Because you're hoping on a watch like this, the lume is good, because that's where it would shine. Guys, I want to be honest. It really didn't. The lume on this was poor, to be honest. It started off okay, and it just went really, really quickly. You'll see the degradation video I'm doing is one of my quicker ones that I've ever done, to be honest, because it just wouldn't, it wouldn't focus because there's not enough light coming from it. The moons are okay. Everything else is really poor. I was hoping that the lume would be one of those areas where, because the star was a star of the show, seeing it when it's dark would have been fantastic, but that just isn't an option. The lume on this is really, really poor. Like I say, so you pull the crown out. If I can do that with my gloves on, bear me 1 second, guys. There we go. So you'll see the crown's out now, so you can change the time to wherever you want it. I'm going to try and put it to the first position. So then what you can do is you can turn like you would the date, and it turns the moons around and stuff. How accurate that is, I've not been able to really see. But then, like I say, you're going to run through it. I can roll through it now, so you can see it's quite jerky as you go through. So when it does start moving, it's not like it does it subtly. When it was moving, when I was doing it before, it would sort of jerk and move over and jerk. And now you'll see, there you go, it goes a bit. So I'm guessing every sort of 24 hours it would give you like a little jerk. I don't know what that symbolizes in terms of I don't think you can really use it as for like a moon phase. I'm sure you wouldn't expect it for the price, which I bring up in front of me, but I'm not so sure what sort of it does then. Like I see 24 hours, the moon moves a little bit. They'd say it'll do 1 revolution in 28 days. Um, yeah, I'm not 100% sure as to what purpose it's serving. It looks okay. I think it could have been executed far better than it has been. I don't want to be too scathing. That's not what my channel's about, but it did leave me a little bit disappointed. But there you go. You can see what I'm doing as I'm rolling through. You have the option to do it as a quick thing as well. But I just wanted to show you, put the crown back in. But there we are. But that's the dial, guys. Let me just pop it on the wrist quickly. Give you an idea what it looks like on my wrist. One moment. Okay, so guys, this is what it looks like on my wrist. Not a small watch. And because of how the gap there, because of the length, it doesn't really conform to the wrist very nicely. It's not a bad looking watch. I'd say save your money and probably buy something better. But yeah, it's not a terrible looking watch. Maybe just a bit more thought needed, I would say. But that's the Welly Merck 142M. Okay, so guys and girls, that'll now take me swiftly on to what I think is pants and pucker about the watch. If you've ever watched before, you not always start with pants. I like to go on a higher with pucker. So what I think is pants. Okay, guys, I'm going to be honest, there's quite a few things because this watch has really faltered to deceive, to be honest. It was one that I was quite excited about when I did my watch haul video and the sale video I did and stuff, but I don't really think it's delivered, to be honest. I'm going to first off go with the legibility. Sometimes, especially because the AR coating on this is non-existent, telling the time at times it proves a little bit tricky. The size, I think, is well oversized. The length of the watch as well, just yeah. So the size generally too big. The lug to lug too long. You got the clasp, which just feels pretty cheap, to be honest. I would rather not have a butterfly clasp, especially where there's no half links available. The loom, you'd have seen the loom, which was non-existent as well. Really poor, to be honest, in terms of the loom. And the lane, Welly Merck, I don't even know where to start. I really don't. I don't know what that means. I don't know what it could be intimating. I don't know why you'd put that together. So yeah, quite a few things, guys. I don't want to sound too ranty, but they're the things I'm going to say. Is I'm going to go legibility, size, lug to lug, clasp, loom, and the name of the watch. What I think is pucker, not quite as long a list. I'm going to go with the sapphire crystal, just because I love a bit of sapphire crystal. The dial, I think the dial looks striking to begin with. In terms of in full operations, not great, but I mean, first off, when you look at it, the moons are done nicely. The movement, a high beat movement for this sort of price, Hangzhou movement 7200A, not bad. The finishing, actually, the finishing's not done badly. In terms of the brushing and polishing, it's one of the few things that I actually really like about the watch in terms of how they've executed it. So that was good. And the general look, like when you look at it, I've had lots of comments on it. So the general look is quite striking. But then when you dig down in it, it's probably not as good as it looks on first impression. So the things I'll say is I go sapphire crystal, dial, movement, finishing, and the general look of the watch. And that'll take me on to, would I recommend this watch? Okay, guys, any of you that have been watching my videos will know I try and stay very balanced. I never go in on any company. It's not my style. But I've got to be honest, I would definitely recommend you buy a different watch, probably any watch at this point, because I didn't enjoy spending time with this. Doesn't fit on wrist nicely. Doesn't do the business. I'll be honest, it's one of my most disappointing watches that I've had in for a while. I wasn't blown away by the watch dimes a little while ago, but that's far better than this. I think this has been a really poor offering. So no, guys, I wouldn't recommend this watch. But guys and girls, please let me know what you think about this watch. More importantly, and maybe any other watches you may want to see on the channel. And as I always say, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and always watch the time. Take care, guys. All the very best.